The votes have been tallied, and for the other rankings, I'm still taking votes, so if you haven't voted yet, please still vote. But for this first video, the votes have been casted, and we had some interesting results, but just keep in mind that this is not my opinion except for if it was a tie. If it was a tie, then I got to have the power on which one gets higher or not, and that really applies for the polls that had a ton of stuff on them, which obviously is definitely counting for this video. But other than that, this was based on you guys, so don't get mad at me if it placed higher or an area just placed lower. So other than that, don't forget to subscribe or all the Shroobs will die. But let's get started on the video. Thank God no one voted for Holly Jolly Village, because it obviously doesn't deserve to be any higher than number 17. And yes, it's because of the tutorials, and I think everybody really knows this, but honestly, other than the places that have the tutorials, Holly Jolly Village isn't really that good. It's not obviously as bad as the places that have the tutorials, but it just doesn't do anything that's too special, except for the atmosphere and the music. But other than that, this place does nothing, and it just is so boring. They could have done something that maybe just an optional boss, and no, they didn't do that. They just left it how Holly Jolly Village is, and that was a horrible mistake, and it's why it's number 17. The Shroob Mothership is the only place I can actually consider being worse than Holly Jolly Village. Now, I actually don't think that. Obviously, I placed this higher, but this place is not good, and it's mainly because of the enemies, and, well, you can never come back here. First off, let's talk about not coming back here. If you miss any bean or any item block, you won't be able to ever get it again. You'll miss it forever, and it's even worse for stuff like beans, because if you don't get them, then you have to play the game, the mini game in Thwomp Caverns to actually get them back, which is just really annoying. So it's not very good that you can actually miss these and you'll never be able to get them. But the enemies, or the one enemy that's here, is the white Shroob, and it's just so boring and disappointing. These are the Shroobs that are in the Shroob Mothership. These ones. Why? They don't do anything except for having a group attack where two of them actually shoot at you, and they just shoot the lasers faster, and that's it. And the problem with this is just so disappointing is every single Shroob, aside from the normal purple Shroob, is actually unique in its own way. And obviously the purple Shroob has an excuse, because that's the ordinary Shroob. So it's actually fine being generic. Obviously we got Dr. Shroob, which has the mushrooms that make him grow or shrink. We got the Shroids, where it has the Shy Guy Says minigame aspect to it, which is really cool. What do these Shroobs have? They have the group attack, but that's it. That's all this Shroob has, which is just so boring and just disappointing. That's the thing I gotta actually stress out about these Shroobs. They're disappointing. And that's why the Shroob Mothership is number 16. Baby Bowser's Castle is 100% affected by this place not having a boss. Why does this place not have a boss? It would have actually made sense if, I don't know, you fought Baby Bowser? That might have been smart, but that's not even the biggest problem with this place. The biggest problem with this place is that it's boring. This place got 0 votes because, again, why would you say that Baby Bowser's Castle is actually your favorite location in Partners in Time? It doesn't make sense. Why would anyone actually pick this as their favorite? And not even in their top 5, because this place has nothing to offer. Aside from Kamek being a bit charming, which lost interest in me, and the Super Mario RPG reference where it had the treasure chest item box, which I'll admit was a nice touch. But other than that, this place just does nothing for me, and it's really boring. I was genuinely surprised that no one voted for Gritzy Desert, but in reality, I don't like this place, so I was surprised, but in a way I was happy because I actually get to place this area low. And the main reason is because as someone who tries to kill every single enemy, this place is so problematic. And the reason why is because you have to separate the babies and the bros. And, well, when you do that, not every single person in your party actually gets EXP, which actually messes with my brain. So I have to go through Gritzy Desert the whole way and kill every single enemy. It's very repetitive, and it's actually really annoying because you have to actually get both the babies and the bros with you. And it's harder than you think. It's not difficult, but it's definitely not an enjoyable experience. And that's the main reason it's actually this low. And obviously, as you know me, I don't like Gritzy Desert as a music theme. I know a lot of people do. I just don't care about it. I don't think it's bad, but I just don't really care about it. I'd way rather listen to stuff like Star Shrine or Toad Town, so yeah, this place does not stand out to me, and it's actually kind of annoying. Koopaceum, I really wish someone voted for it. I understand why that no one voted for it, because why would you think that Koopaceum is in your top 3 locations, or even in your top 5, just because it's really short and there's nothing really to it. But there's nothing to it that's annoying, and I think that's why I actually really like this place. I still wouldn't even have it in my top 10, but it's definitely not a bad location, and this is because the Bros Ball segment, the atmosphere and the music, and all the Shroobs in the audience, which makes this place actually pretty unique. And that is probably why I actually placed it over even Gritzy Desert. And that's definitely something that I want to point out. A really short place beat Gritzy Desert, and it's because nothing annoys me about it. But there's definitely stuff that annoys me constantly at Gritzy Desert. So that's definitely why it's higher, but it really should have been longer. Toadwood Forest is a place that is 100% overshadowed by Vim Factory, and for good reason. This place isn't bad, per se, but it definitely is boring, kind of like Baby Bowser's Castle, but it definitely has more to it. And that's mainly because of the atmosphere. And this deals with all the toads getting their Vim sucked out of them. And, well, it creates this eerie atmosphere, and you could just talk to the toads, and they're suffering, we'll say that, and they're gonna die unless you go into the factory. I like all the things that they did with this place, except one thing, and that is the platforms that move really slowly across the spikes. And this is annoying because it completely destroys the pacing of this place. You just wait. That's all you do. You wait, and just wait, and wait, until you get to where you need to go, and then you can get off. It's really annoying, but kind of like Koopaceum, this place doesn't have a ton to it, but it definitely has some positives, and that's why it's higher than the rest of these. And also, it helps that it's longer and it actually has enemies, which makes it better than Koopaceum in my opinion. Princess Peach's castle is actually a pretty good place considering the purpose that it's supposed to serve. And the purpose is, well, it's a hub world. And considering that no other Mario RPG actually has a hub world, this is actually one of the most unique places in Mario RPGs. Not in design, but the purpose it serves. And obviously all the toads having this just really stupid but charming dialogue is pretty nice. The basement of the castle, or I guess I should say the sewers, are pretty cool. You get to see Fawful in there. You get to see all the time holes early sometimes. stuff like Toad Town, Shroob Castle. Seeing those time holes early is actually pretty cool. But other than that, why would you pick Princess Peach's castle as your favorite area in Partners in Time? And I know I've said this so many times, but why Princess Peach's castle? And the only reason I can maybe consider is that this is the only place that you actually are in that's in the present. Other than that, everything's in the past. But that's the only reason I can consider, and it's not really that good. I still like this place, obviously, but it just doesn't deserve any votes. Why did Star Shrine not get any votes? Is it like every person just thinks that this is their second favorite location and they had to vote for their favorite location? No, that's wrong, because people actually voted for Star Hill, but no one voted for Star Shrine, which just doesn't make sense to me. And this is my second favorite location in Partners in Time, and it's because that this place is long, the enemies are really fun and actually really difficult. We got some really cool concepts with the Aurora block. We have making the pentagram in that one room, and that really cool last room where you have to go all around it, where your character icon just goes all around the map. It's really cool, and it's actually pretty creative. Might I add that the music in this place is awesome. But honestly, another thing that I just point out with this place is I don't know why people didn't vote for it. The only reason I can think of is maybe people just liked other places more, but it doesn't make sense to me. And yes, I do have one place that's better in my opinion, but honestly, only one place did. And the problem with it is that Star Hill will place higher on this list than Star Shrine, which just doesn't make sense to me. We're finally on to places that got some votes, and even though only one person voted for Glitzy Caves, I can actually understand why. First things first, I like Petey Piranha being shown throughout the place. He's actually an active threat. And also, the mini games in here. We got the use of the Bros Ball, which obviously in the Koopaceum segment, I really did praise with the Bros Ball. We got just other minigames that are actually fun and make this place somewhat unique for Partners in Time. But honestly, I can only assume that one person voted for it because of these reasons. Because in reality, I think that this place is very boring and just generic. And for 3 reasons actually. One, there's no unique music to this place. It's just the underground theme remix that is also in Peach's Castle sewers. So it's not unique to me. Also in the Shroob Castle sewers. The second reason is these enemies, 2 of the 3 enemies in this place are rehashed from Baby Bowser's Castle, which doesn't really make them very unique enemies because they're just faster versions of earlier enemies. Obviously we got the Mummy Sniffets, which obviously are the best enemies of the place, but it's still not amazing comparing it to other enemies in this game. As well as the just atmosphere of this place. It's just underground. That's all it is. It's a cave. There's nothing unique to this place at all. All this place is, it's just a cave, and the music proves it, the atmosphere proves it, and honestly, the format of this place proves it. It's just really barren and boring. Thick Yoshi's Belly only got 1 vote, and that's really disappointing for me. And the reason why is because Yoshi's Island got more votes than Yoob's Belly, which doesn't make sense because this place has harder enemies. It actually has a really cool concept with the Chain Chomp balls, and, well, I like the atmosphere and the music more. So, 100%, this place should have been higher, and I kind of also expected people to vote for it because, well, I think you know. I really can't think of a reason why people didn't vote for this because it was a bad place. I actually really think this is a good place. I just think that, again, people thought places were better. And for the people that voted for Yoshi's Island, I don't get it. Because, yes, it's Yoshi's Island, yay, you get to see the Yoshis. Guess what? You get to see the Yoshis actually do stuff in Yu's belly. When they're pushing the Chain Chomp ball. Or actually meeting Toadbert. Actually getting transformed into eggs. Actually being inside of a thick Yoshi. Okay, there's so many unique things to this place, and it's actually in my top 5 favorite locations in this game. So it's really disappointing that I have to put it at number 8. This place is overrated. I'm sorry. First things first, again, I don't care about the atmosphere and music about this place. It doesn't really feel unique to me. We already have games like Yoshi's Island, so this just doesn't really affect me. I like Kamek actually starting the fires, and I like the cool concept with actually getting the blocks to actually progress. But other than that, this place doesn't really have anything special. Especially with stuff like using the Toadsworth twist. It doesn't really feel like you use it in a great way. It doesn't really feel like this is the place that should have been used with Toadsworth twist. Because nothing was really done with it that was unique. And that's the sad thing about it. Nothing about this place really feels unique, and nothing stands out about it to me. Aside from Thick Yoshi, but again, we have Thick Yoshi's belly that I just talked about. So it doesn't actually affect the ranking for me. And this is the first actual place that got 2 votes. And I don't know why. I really don't think it deserves those votes. I think one of those votes should have been to Yu's belly, and I would have been fine with this place having 1 vote, but 2, it just doesn't make sense to me. I like this place. I don't think many people like Vim Factory for the reasons I like it, but I can definitely see the reasons why people voted for it. First off, we had the lead Hammer Bros, which tutorial-wise I don't like, but as characters I think they're fine. I like that you actually only get to play with the babies for a bit of Vim Factory. That's pretty nice. I like some of the enemies here. I really like Dr. Shroob. I really like the Lakitua foes. I think that's what they're called. And I like that you actually get the hammers here. It makes sense. Also, I love just seeing all the Toads, I guess souls, getting sucked in by those pipes, which it's really demented and dark, but it's really cool to actually see it. And it really boosts this place up for me, because it gives this place just some really cool uniqueness that it probably needed. As well as the music's pretty nice. I think it has some underrated music. I don't think it's some of the best in Partners in Time, but it's definitely good. But I think a problem that I have with this place is, well, I think that the bosses are definitely underwhelming, which I don't take bosses into consideration, but I think some people would, and that's probably why some people didn't vote for Vim Factory. As well as that stupid crash that happens with the tutorials with the Hammer Bros for the tutorial battle using the hammer. I crashed so many times and it's so annoying. Personally, this is my least favorite final area in the Mario RPGs, but I can absolutely see why people voted for this. First off, it's the final area, and well, in my original ranking, I did put this at number 1, but there's a fatal flaw that just puts this as my least favorite final area. But let's talk about the good things first. Well, first off, the layout of this place is really cool, and it's because it's technically Peach's castle, but just destroyed and flipped, which makes it a bit confusing, and it also makes this place feel new, even though you know that you've been here so many times. As well as, we got some of these really good enemies in here. None of them would really make my top 5, but they're really hard enemies and they give a lot of EXP, and they're actually pretty satisfying to take down, especially for someone like me that doesn't use bros items while fighting normal enemies. And it's actually pretty fun to actually take them out then because of it. But I think the main reason I don't actually consider this the best and actually the worst final area is because it drags out for way too long. And I did a poll on the Shroob subreddit, and almost everyone agreed that this place is too long and it needed to be cut back. And personally, I would have cut back most of the sewer segment, where the chain chomp just knocks the pipe. Because it's not only an insult to the player, it's just annoying that it happens. Because you just see that, oh my god, we're actually gonna get to Peach. But no, you get knocked down into the sewer, which is just irritating. I gotta hand it to you guys, this top 4 is a really strong top 4, except for one, but you know, you gotta always have a weak link. So the number 4, which is the worst out of these 4, according to you guys, is Thwomp Volcano. And the thing about Thwomp Volcano is there's not much to talk about for it. Obviously we got the music, we got Professor Egad in the past, we got the volcano erupting, which is cool and all, but the reason why everyone really likes this place, and why I personally like this place, is the enemies, and you using every single one of your abilities to actually climb up this volcano. And aside from the water spit ability, which personally I'm fine with not using, you use every single one to a really cool purpose. And you are using stuff like the baby cakes and the baby spin not as often as you think, which is actually really fun because you just get to use stuff like the Bros Ball and the Toadsworth Twist and the Drill more and more and more, which is obviously fun because I really like those abilities. But honestly, the enemies are the thing that make this place. Obviously, the Tanoombas are awesome. They have some really unique attacks. We got the stupid square thwomp things, which summon new ones, which I like as enemies, but I can definitely see why people would see them as annoying. I personally don't. But the worst enemy here is definitely the enemy that copies from Yoshi's Island, which is definitely disappointing, but it uses some of the harder attacks from the Yoshi's Island enemies, so I actually still find this enemy entertaining to fight, aside from also liking the Yoshi's Island enemies, so I'm gonna like him here. This sucks because Toad Town only needed one more vote, and it would have been number 1, but no. It only got 2 votes, which means it's the best out of the areas that got 2 votes, but where do I begin with this place? Well, first things first, I voted for Toad Town. This is the place that I voted for. And the reason why is because the atmosphere and the music is the best that it ever is in Partners in Time. And this place specializes in those 2 areas. So it being the best basically means it's one of the best uses in any Mario RPG. So that's already really cool. Secondly, I really like the concept of splitting off the babies and the bros. And you may say, oh, I was complaining about it with Gritzy Desert. But here's the thing about Gritzy Desert. It's optional to kill the enemies with all the bros. And obviously I'm gonna take it because I want the EXP. In this place it isn't optional, where you have to kill the enemies with just the bros and just the babies. So because of that, my brain doesn't go through that, I guess, confusion. So it's really nice, and I actually get to enjoy just fighting with the bros and the babies, which is really different, but it's actually fun. Not to mention that the enemies in this place are top tier enemies. It has my favorite enemy of all time in this place, which is the Shroids, where it has the Shy Guy Says element as an attack, which is really cool. And also we got those little puff balls that can fly. We got the Spony Pokies, and well, they're really cool enemies, and they're actually difficult because you fight them only with the bros or only with the babies, which means either you have to just use jumping or hammers for the babies, or use stuff like red shells, green shells, fire flowers, ice flowers, just attacks like those, which aren't as strong if you only have the bros and the babies, which again makes this place for me much more fun and much more difficult. And that's why I put Toad Town as my favorite area, and it's why it's number 3 on this list. Why? Why did Star Hill specifically get the most amount of votes tied with the number 1? That doesn't even make sense. I really hope the reason why people voted for Star Hill was because of people thinking that I included Star Shrine with it, which, fine. If that's honestly the reason, fine. I'm fine with you ranking it this high, but just Star Hill in general, it's not a bad place. I'd probably put it in maybe my top 10. I'd probably put it in like maybe number 8, maybe just above Yoshi's Island or something like that. But I don't think it's great. I think it's way too short to be number 2. And there's really nothing memorable to it. It just reminds me of the Thwomp Volcano, but way shorter, because all you're doing is just climbing up the fans. That's really all you're doing. And that's the only thing I really am just remembering about this place. I like some of the moments where the Star Spirits is talking to you. I like some of the enemies. Actually, I like all the enemies here, which is actually pretty good. But it's way too short to be number 2. I can, again, understand why people voted for this, but only if people actually thought that this was including Star Shrine. But since it isn't, it just doesn't make sense being number 2. Am I just stupid? Am I just an idiot not realizing that this is a really popular location? That's really weird that I got this many votes. While Thwomp Volcano isn't my favorite location, I absolutely agree that it deserves to be number 1. And 3 people voted for it, and I'm very glad that this is number 1. Even though it tied with Star Hill, this place basically had really easy time beating Star Hill, because this place is long, the pacing is really good, there's actually a decent amount of enemies, even though it has one of my least favorite enemies in Partners in Time, but I already made a video on that. The thing about this place, though, that really makes it unique is seeing Bowser and Baby Bowser actually interacting. And you have to continue going deeper and deeper and deeper into the volcano, which makes you feel more and more tense. And that really is with the music, and the atmosphere is actually pretty good, even though it somewhat looks generic. And yeah, there's definitely just a ton of things that really make this place for me. Stuff like the Thwack Totem. Just stuff like the mini games here. I can't really think of a flaw with this place, except for, again, the gold Coupelium, but it's not huge. It's not a huge thing about it, because they're annoying because they run away. So at least I don't have to deal with them for long, so that's at least a very nice thing. And I think, again, the main thing about it is that there's nothing wrong with this place. This place deserves to be number 1, because it's a very fun place, and there's nothing wrong with it. And for the people that did vote for it, good job. Good job to you. Thank you guys for watching this video. My next video will be about one of the polls that I did on the 1,000-year door, so stay tuned for that. And if you haven't voted yet, go to the description, and I will have a link to where you're supposed to vote. And other than that, don't forget to subscribe to the Shroob, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.